Josh.
Yeah.
Your name, but also the name of a sitcom. Your sitcom.
Yeah.
2 series in.
Yeah.
A third coming in
Yeah.
2017. How do you find acting?
It's not something I've ever wanted to do, but it's quite fun. I certainly wouldn't want to play. I'm playing myself or a version of myself. You know, it's not. It's closer to doing stand up than it is closer to acting in a play as a different character. Because I'm essentially taking my stand up persona, which, in a way, every stand up is doing acting, aren't they? When they're on stage, essentially putting that stand-up persona in a room with other people.
I'm a cop. Yeah, no, I could see that, but no. A minute ago, I was a noble Native American. Now I'm one of the village people.
Why have you come as one of them?
I haven't. You've made me into one. You're going to need to get changed. What else have you got?
Would you ever be tempted to branch into other fields, though?
Of acting?
Yes.
No.
Yeah. No. Of general work. Secretarial work. Civil service.
Is that what you're trying to go? Do you think you should move into a different area?
No, I think you did it with aplomb. I'm not saying it was...
No, it doesn't... The thought of doing serious acting, I don't have any interest in, really, at all. And I don't think they've got any interest in me doing it. I think that there's lots and lots of people that are proper actors. And I'm good at certain things, like stand-up, and I think I'll stick to them.
Okay. Christmas 2016. You were on BBC Two and Channel 4 at the same time.
Was I?
8 out of 10 Cats.
Was I on 8 out of 10?
Was it 8 out of 10 Cats, or would I lie to you? No, 8 out of 10 Cats it was.
Okay.
And QI.
Okay.
Is there a hierarchy in panel shows? And if there is the best way to avoid it to appear on more than one show at the same time?
So do you mean a hierarchy between the different panel shows?
Yes.
Yeah, there is a hierarchy. It's published and sent to all comedians at the start of the year, and then you can use it.
QI must be at the top, surely.
QI is certainly up there, certainly in the Champions League.
Yeah.
I'd say, would you want the Champions League panel shows?
Please.
That's a very divisive thing. I'd say some of the Champions League panel shows are, off the top of my head. There are others that I will forget. I'd say Would I Lie to You might be very much... Would I Lie to You is very much the Chelsea, I'd say, of panel shows. Have I Got News for You and QI would be up there. They're certainly... They're big ones. There's other big ones, but I'd say when Would I Lie to You come a-calling, you're never going to say no. Yeah. That's the most fun to do.
Are you this reticent at home in the morning?
No, but normally Lee Mack's not sat in the corner making jokes at me.
I'm never there. I just want to make that absolutely clear.
Is that your favourite panel show, Would I Lie to You? Just because of the fun factor?
Definitely. It's definitely... I think the 3 people on it... If you were to write the 10 funniest people in Britain, those 3 would all be in it. David Mitchell, Rob Brydon and Lee Mack. And it's a game, it's a parlour game. Yeah. So you're just playing a game, you're not having to think, you're just playing a game. And you get lost in it.
Since starring in The Last Leg, very successful show that you're one of the big names on, do people ever come up and ask you, what exactly is your disability?
They do all the time, yeah. I think now if you Google me, then you get that. If you Google me, then you get a. That's one of the. You get the words afterwards. I think disability is the first one to come up. So, I kind of fear that it's going to catch up with me, and I'm going to be involved in some kind of accident and lose some kind of limb, and as a kind of justice for backpacking on the disability bandwagon. No, I do. I found out this week I need glasses. I'm very excited, obviously, to have as much right to blue badge spots as you two. I'm very excited. I could be a Paralympian. Tokyo 2020, here I come. Obviously, I should say 2020 is a number that now...
May I pepper our conversation with a personal anecdote?
Yeah, of course.
So... You were presenting Fighting Talk, a BBC radio show, for a few years, and I am a regular on that. Thoroughly enjoyed working with you on it.
Thank you.
And I used to sit there in the studio and sort of look at you and think, I can't figure out what it is.
So you thought...
I thought, but it's not the kind of thing you want to bring.
Yeah, of course.
So, you hide it well. What's your disability, Josh? And I thought
So how many episodes was that for? Like, quite a few?
12.
Oh, what, the whole way through?
Yes.
Oh, really?
And I never knew.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you think there's a lot of people doing that?
I think there's a lot of people that look at you and think, that guy is he is spearheading a new revolution. I'm disabled, but I'm not going to get down about it.
And I'm not going to mention it.
I'm not even going to show it.
No,
going to show it.
So what were you thinking? Legs?
I did. This sounds terrible.
Mental?
Yeah, I did think there might be some kind of mental
Yeah,
disorder
of
going
course,
on
yeah,
that you used comedy as a crutch, maybe.
Of course.
And then I thought, because you've got a very distinctive voice.
See, voice box.
I thought, is the voice a reaction or a result of something that's happened?
What, that I haven't got a throat?
I don't know. I was grasping at things. Has
This is a...
Did he fall? It affected something in his bones, but also his voice box. I didn't know.
Wow, but I was a very brave little soldier with the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't think I was the only person to come on that show that went through the same cogitations.
No, I'm sure you weren't.
So just to make it clear, because if you're still getting asked about this to this day, Josh Widdicombe doesn't suffer from a disability
per se
that we know of.
That we know of.
But if he did, my God, the laddie hides it well.
I had a thing called a cabin bed. If you don't know what a cabin bed is, Dan, I'll explain it to you. What it was the height of a bunk bed, but below it, instead of another bed, I had a desk. Yeah, basically my parents had made the executive decision that I was more likely to write a letter than have a friend.
I was at your Hammersmith show.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Last year, and was invited to the after show.
Yes.
And I tried to say hello to you in there.
You did say hello
but,
to me.
Well, I did, but it was hampered somewhat by the fact that you were in conversation with Rio Ferdinand, the ex-international footballer and very famous.
Well, the reason he was there was we, the week before, recorded a celebrity version of The Crystal Maze for Stand Up to Cancer, where you know they do that Crystal Maze, they've got that Crystal Maze experience in Angel.
Yes.
So Channel 4 took that place and they filmed Crystal Maze with Stephen Merchant hosting it.
Wow.
And our team was, here's a motley crew. Rio Ferdinand, footballer.
Yeah.
Me, comedian. Johnny Peacock, the Paralympian.
Excellent.
And then Sarah Coxie Cox, the
DJ.
Coxie
Cox.
Yeah.
Now working on the Sounds of the 80s.
Yeah, brilliant show. Brilliant. I love Sarah Cox. And Britain's sweetheart, Michelle Keegan. What a team. But we would beat the Crystal Maze, and then he said, have you got any gigs coming up that I could come to? And I thought, surely you don't mean this. You don't mean this, do you? But he did mean it.
Because I thought, I didn't see you as someone who had friends who were ex or indeed current professional footballers.
No, I wouldn't say I am. Like, I wouldn't say, I'd say acquaintances.
Yeah. But
I'd say, in terms of celebrity circles, I don't really move in those areas.
I just wanted to, confront that head on, because I thought, who are the Widdicombe fan base?
If I was friends with a professional footballer, who would you guess it would be?
Gary Mabbutt would be one.
Gary Mabbutt, the diabetic footballer.
Yes.
Because you think that might be my disability.
Yeah, I know. A lack of glucose can...
Me and Gary meet up to, do our insulin
a lack of glucose
together.
can perhaps affect a voice box. I think you'd be Trevor Sinclair, certainly.
Oh, yeah? Sorry about Alton Towers. Bit of trivia.
What happened to Alton Towers with Trevor Sinclair?
I saw...
you saw him. You saw
him, yeah.
I thought you said, I'm sorry about Alton Towers.
No. I saw him at Alton Towers with his 2 small kids, and from what I could tell, his pregnant wife and kids. And I might have, in my mind, then changed that to that being the story, but that stuck in my mind, and to the point where I was thinking he's the only one that could go on any of the rides. Due to her pregnancy and their height.
Typical footballer, thinking about themselves, but that's how they become professionals.
Exactly.
This sounds like a boring question.
Well, we'll see.
But I do think it's an interesting one. Who were your comic inspirations?
I think that's an acceptable question. Yeah. Yes. Good. Yeah. Shall we run with it? I'd say that I think that to kind of growing up in the 90s, the best time for British comedy you could possibly grow up in terms of the amount of amazing comedy on TV, from Fast Show to Shooting Stars to Father Ted, Royal Family, there was unbelievable amounts of good comedy during the 90s. I'd say, so the whole thing just meant that I think it was like every Friday on BBC Two and Channel 4, you're watching comedy. But I'd say Frank Skinner was the one person that and then Frank Skinner, and then like Harry Hill, Jack Dee. I certainly fantasy football with Frank Skinner, and then I remember having his live VHS live in Birmingham, which was, I watched so much. Do you remember when a VHS would kind of go, yeah.
And when we got really up, you know when you're loading up on the big wheel and you're on the top there and it's a bit windy and you're worried, you know, I'd start saying, it's high up, isn't it? Isn't it high up here? Everyone's going, yeah, it is high up. And when they're looking down, you just get the bolt out your pocket. They shit themselves, honestly. It works, still works. I've done it on fucking Eurostar.
But yeah, I'd say, but I wouldn't say there's anyone where, Steve Coogan as well, but like where you go, I want to be like them so much as I want to be in comedy.
But it's really interesting because the people...
I think anyone that wears their influences too heavily hasn't maybe watched enough comedy.
But imagine when you were back there watching, say, Harry Hill or Steve Coogan, and someone said to him, who are your inspirations? You'd have been interested to hear that.
Yeah, no,
so
yeah.
it is...
But what I mean is, like, I always feel like, you know, when you will see someone, often with a band as well, when they just sound like someone else.
Of course.
And you're like, I think you should have watched enough that if you keep... I tell you what I found is when I went on tour, certainly when I was supporting Stephen Merchant on tour, and I'd only watched him for 3 months.
Yeah.
And I would be I'd be doing new bits and bobs. And I realised I was picking up a lot of his tics because you were only watching one thing. And so I think you need to watch loads of different things so that you can then not pick up any of them, if that makes sense.
Case in point being Stuart Lee, when he was doing, you know how he said dissects jokes that say don't work to the audience, but of course they do because he's dissecting it. He says, no, what's happened there? You laughed, you didn't.
Truth is, Mike's girlfriend's mother's a horrible old bitch. Her name's Anne Wilson. And she's a junior school teacher from Greenwich in South London. And that's true. Quite funny, that one, isn't it? You never can tell, though. Humour's a subjective thing.
I would start seeing that in comedy clubs all around the place. It's like, don't stop.
When I was doing open mic, I'd say the most copied person was Stuart Lee.
Yeah.
I'd say even when I started, the first gigs I did, I sounded like Stuart Lee because I didn't know what I was. You know, I was a big fan of Stuart Lee. Would be another one, and you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you sound like. You know, weird because of the diabetes, obviously.